Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. The dawn of October 20th arrived tenderly over Hanoi. Morning light filtered through thin curtains, touching the quiet faces of two women, Tu Na and her mother. The small house was filled with the scent of freshly steamed rice. Tu Na moved slowly, her hand resting on her belly. Inside her, a heartbeat whispered a future not yet born. It was her first Vietnamese Women's Day as a mother-to-be, yet her heart was unsettled. Alex, the man she loved, had been distant, buried in meetings and calls. Her mother looked at her kindly, eyes carrying both fatigue and wisdom. "Men don't always forget, my dear," she murmured. "They just don't always know how to show love." Outside, the wind stirred a fallen petal, as if something was about to change. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The truth is just beginning to unfold. The day unfolded quietly. Tu Na spent the morning cleaning the house, folding baby clothes with trembling hands. Each tiny shirt was like a promise, fragile yet full of hope. Her mother hummed an old lullaby, the same song she used to sing when life was simpler, before love became something that could both heal and hurt. But Alex, he hadn't called. The silence between them stretched like a thin line of glass, transparent, but ready to shatter at any time. At the office, Alex's gaze lingered on a small photograph he had found on Tu Na's desk. She was just a little girl, holding her mother's hand in a field of wildflowers. The image pierced through his chest, a reminder of the tenderness he had nearly forgotten to protect. He whispered to himself, "They deserve more than words." For weeks, Alex had been secretly preparing something. He met with florists, arranged soft music, and asked an assistant to hang delicate lights in the garden behind his house. He even restored the old photograph and framed it carefully. That afternoon, while his colleagues discussed numbers and profits, Alex's mind was elsewhere, on the woman carrying his child, on the quiet strength of her mother, and on the life he was about to build. By sunset, Hanoi glowed under a golden haze. He left work early, his heart racing faster than the car's engine. On the passenger seat lay two boxes, one velvet box with a silver pendant, a symbol of new life, and the framed photograph. Meanwhile, at home, Tu Na set the table for dinner. Her mother noticed the silence in her eyes. "Still no call?" the older woman asked gently. Tu Na shook her head, hiding her disappointment behind a soft smile. Then, darkness. The power suddenly went out. From the window, a soft light began to flicker. Candles one after another leading toward the garden. Her phone vibrated. A message from Alex. "Go to the garden with your mother." Tu Na froze. Her mother looked at her in surprise. "What's this about, dear?" Tu Na didn't answer. She simply held her mother's hand, and together they followed the glowing path into the unknown. Outside, the night was silent, but their hearts were not. The garden opened before them like a dream, slowly waking. Strings of soft golden lights swayed among the trees. Petals drifted in the evening breeze, and at the center stood a table covered in white cloth. Simple, but glowing. Two chairs, a small cake, and a bouquet of roses waited under the moonlight. And then they saw him. Alex stood there in a white shirt, holding a single white rose. The way he looked at Tu Na, tender, silent, trembling, made her heart ache. For a long moment, none of them spoke. The only sound was the rustle of the wind through jasmine and the faint melody of a piano hidden somewhere between the leaves. Then, softly, he said, Happy Vietnamese Women's Day. His voice carried both apology and devotion. He walked toward them, kneeling before Tuna's mother first. "Thank you," he said, his tone unsteady but sincere, "for raising a daughter so brave and kind. Everything she is, everything I love began with you." The older woman's eyes shimmered. She tried to speak, but tears silenced her. Alex gently handed her the framed photograph, the one of little Tuna holding her mother's hand among the flowers. "You both taught me what real love means," he whispered. Then he turned to Tuna. Her hand instinctively rested on her belly, where their child stirred faintly. Alex opened the velvet box. Inside lay a silver pendant, shaped like a drop of morning dew. "It's for you," he said, "and for the life you carry. I wanted this to be the first gift for both of you." Tuna couldn't speak. Her vision blurred as her heart overflowed. Love, disbelief, forgiveness, all rushing at once. She took the pendant with shaking hands. "I thought you forgot," she murmured. Alex shook his head. "I could never forget. I just didn't know how to express everything I feel. But tonight I want you to see it. Not in words, but in the light, in the garden, in this promise." Her mother reached forward, placing both their hands together. "Love isn't shown by speaking louder," she said gently, "but by standing silently beside each other when it matters." Under the candlelight, Alex kissed Tuna's forehead. She felt the weight of his sincerity, heavy, real, and redeeming. The baby moved again inside her, as if responding to the peace that now surrounded them. In that still moment, all the distances, doubts, and sleepless nights melted away. Tuna smiled through tears. "You didn't just remember the day," she whispered. "You remembered us." Alex nodded, and at that moment, everything changed. They sat beneath a sky scattered with stars, the air fragrant with roses and soft candle smoke. For a while, none of them spoke. Only their breathing filled the space between flickering lights. The warmth of the evening seemed to hold them in a quiet embrace. Tuna's mother was the first to find her voice. "Alex," she said gently, "no one has ever done something so thoughtful for us. This garden, it feels like a dream." Alex lowered his gaze, humbled. "It's not enough," he replied. "You both deserve so much more. You gave life to someone who changed mine. I just wanted to thank you, not with money, but with meaning." The older woman smiled softly, her wrinkles deepening in the candlelight. "My son," she whispered, "sometimes the words of a sincere man are worth more than all the gold in the world." Tuna looked at them, her heart swelling with warmth. Watching her mother's joy was a gift she didn't know she needed. For the first time in months, the tension in her chest melted away. She turned toward Alex. His eyes reflected both relief and love, and for a moment she saw not the businessman who had been distant, but the man who had stayed. "You've changed," she said softly. Alex laughed quietly. "Maybe I've finally remembered what matters. I used to think success and stability were love's foundation, but tonight I see that love itself, kindness, patience, small acts, is the foundation of everything." Tuna reached across the table, taking his hand. "Our child will grow up knowing that," she said, tears shining on her lashes. Her mother nodded, lifting her teacup like a sacred gesture. "Let's toast," she said, her voice trembling, "to this day and to the miracle of meeting one another in this life. The three raised their cups. The sound of porcelain touching was faint but resonant, like the echo of something eternal. They ate slowly, savoring not just the food, but the stillness between words. The baby inside Tuna kicked lightly, and Alex placed his hand over hers, feeling the life that connected them all. For a fleeting second, he realized this was happiness. Not the kind written in headlines or numbers, but the kind that breathes quietly, found in shared silences and held hands. "Do you remember," Tuna said with a tender smile, "when we first met, you told me you didn't believe in fate?" He chuckled, nodding. "And I still don't. I believe in choice. I chose you every single day, even when I didn't know how to show it." Her mother looked at them, eyes glistening. "That's all love really is," she murmured. "Not fate, not perfection, just choosing to care again and again." The candles flickered, and a gentle wind moved the white curtains draped between the trees. It felt as if the universe itself was breathing with them. Alex stood, walked around the table, and knelt beside Tuna, resting his head lightly against her belly. "I don't know if I'll be a perfect father," he whispered, "but I'll be present. Always." Tuna brushed her fingers through his hair, whispering, "That's all our child will ever need." The mother's eyes filled again, but this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were of peace. She had lived long enough to know that moments like this were rare, fragile, and precious beyond measure. The night deepened. The garden shimmered softly, as if the stars had bent closer to listen. 3 hearts, one past, one present, one future, beat in quiet harmony. And when the last candle finally melted into a small pool of light, their love still burned gently in the air, unseen but undeniable. It was past midnight when the final candle gave its last sigh. The garden glowed faintly beneath the moon, a soft golden haze blanketing the earth, as if the night itself wanted to keep their secret safe. Tuna leaned against Alex's shoulder, feeling his steady heartbeat beneath her cheek. Her mother sat across from them, her hands wrapped around a cup of warm tea, eyes half closed in peace. The world felt still, like time had paused just to let them breathe. For so long, Tuna had feared distance, silence, the fading warmth between them. But now, watching Alex's calm smile, she understood. Love isn't about constant presence, but quiet understanding. Some hearts speak through action, not words. Her mother's gaze wandered toward the stars. "You see, my daughter," she said softly, "true love doesn't shout. It listens." Alex stood, holding a single white rose, and placed it gently in front of them both. "This flower," he said, voice trembling slightly, "is for you, the woman who gave life and the woman who will give life. You are both the beginning and the continuation of every love I've ever known." Tuna's lips curved into a fragile smile. She took the rose and looked at her mother, the woman who had weathered storms, who had taught her that gentleness could be strength. And beside her sat the man who had learned to love not through grandeur, but through grace. A breeze stirred the air, carrying the scent of jasmine and damp soil. Somewhere far away, a bell chimed midnight. Tuna whispered, "I used to think happiness was a destination, something we reach. But now I see it's a moment, something we notice." Alex nodded, eyes glistening. "Maybe love doesn't end," he said quietly. It just changes shape. The three of them stayed there beneath the stars, wrapped in light and silence, as the night folded gently around them. When dawn came, it did not break, it blossomed. And in that fragile light of morning, the world seemed to whisper a truth older than time itself. Love survives, not in promises or perfection, but in kindness, patience, and the courage to begin again. On the gentle morning of October 20th in Hanoi, Lytuna, a woman expecting her first child, felt a quiet emptiness as Alex remained buried in work. She didn't know he was secretly preparing a surprise, a garden filled with candles, flowers, and music. When the lights in her house suddenly went out, Lytuna and her mother followed the trail of flickering candles to the garden, where Alex stood waiting, holding a white rose. He gifted her mother a restored old photograph and gave Lytuna a pendant symbolizing new life, thanking them for teaching him how to love sincerely. That night, the three of them sat together in peaceful silence, where love needed no promises, only light, understanding, and gratitude.